Hey everyone! I'm so excited to be here this week, especially because I am bringing on one of my most favorite people in the whole wide world. Her name is Lail Barrett, and I'm actually going to be reading her bio while she joins me here because she's incredible and I don't want to waste any time. We need to get her in here. You guys are going to love her. We're going to dive into some good stuff. She is seriously someone I bring to all my events. I bring her, I feel like I reel her into everything I do because she's just a wealth of knowledge, and she's my personal therapist as well. She has helped me through depression and anxiety and through panic attacks. In fact, she just helped me the other day. She's one of those people I will forever treasure. She just has a special place in my heart. I just want to read her bio real quick because I don't want to forget any of her credentials. Okay, so Lail is a mental health therapist at her own office, Essential Strength Within, in the Cottonwood Heights, Utah area. So if you guys are local to that area, she is close to you. Hi, Lail. She just joined. Okay, so just request and you'll be able to get in.
Hey, how are you, sweet girl?
Good. I'm just reading your bio because you're just amazing and I don't want to forget any of your credentials.
Crazy lady. It's fine.
So I'm going to finish, and if I'm forgetting something, just add it in, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so I just talked about how you're a therapist in Cottonwood Heights, and she's married with 2 of her own children and 4 stepchildren. Her greatest joy is her first grandbaby, who she loves to snuggle with. She enjoys reading, listening to music, and being with her best friend and husband of 5 years. She works mostly with adults, but her specialty is working with maternal mental health clients. As a survivor of postpartum herself, she has a passion for helping new mothers to understand the emotional roller coaster that pregnancy can create in the female body, and to also help the partner understand what is happening to their loved one and be supportive and a loving partner. Guys, she is like gold. Like, to have her on with me, this is like such a treasure and a treat for all of us because she is like someone that I hold so dear to my heart, and like she will forever be that way. So thanks, Lail, for being with us today.
Back at you, sweet girl.
And by the way,
I have one more grandbaby since that bio was
written. Are you serious?
So, little grandgirls.
Oh,
so
how
the best. Being a grandma is the best in the world. Ever.
And I bet you're the best grandma in the world ever. You're just the best.
Gets pricey, I'm not gonna lie.
Are they close? Do they live close to you?
No, one's in Texas and one's in Idaho. So Amazon's my best friend now. My husband, he knows if I'm up late clicking things, it's going to be bad.
You know where it's going straight to them. I love that.
All of it.
Okay, well, Lail's the best because she actually has switched around her schedule just to be here with you guys today, and I'm so grateful for that because she has a packed schedule, this woman, but she is always just so giving of herself, and she shares so many amazing things. She doesn't even know what we're talking about today because I'm diving into all the things that I have been touched by from her, and I want you guys to feel that too. So we're going to dive into a few different topics, but because the holidays are starting like right now, I want to dive into it a little bit because I think it's sometimes a hard place for people to be in, especially if you've like lost somebody or you're going through it or you just feel like you are in a funk when the holidays come around. I don't know. Sometimes I feel that way.
Oh, for sure.
Can we dive into that, Lail?
Holidays actually are one of the hardest times of the year because, for a lot of different reasons. Maybe there's family drama that you're having to deal with. Maybe there's people in your family who you've had a rough time with, and you're like, I don't want to even be around that person, or I don't have a conversation, especially now with politics right now. It's a lot of energy. There's a lot of energy, and a lot of hurt feelings can be had. And so it's really an important time to pay attention, number one, to your resilience. Get good sleep, eat good. Don't just eat crap. Tempting, but eat well because your body needs as much energy as it can get to handle those emotions. If your body is weak and tired, if you're sick, for example, your brain will always take care of the physical body first. And so it will be like, emotions, sorry, sucks for you. You're on your own, and your emotions kind of go crazy. So eating well, sleeping well, lowering your stress as much as you can. I know it's hard during the holidays, but shop early. Don't put things off to the end. Do the best that you can to lower your stress and simplify. it's okay to simplify the holidays. It's a good thing. You don't have to do extravagant gifts for everybody in the block. You don't have to put up all your Christmas decorations. Did you know that? It's okay to not. it's it's okay to simplify. If life is crazy, it's okay to slow down. There's always a big schlump, I call it, after the holidays. Like you get through, we go to Halloween, and then we have a little schlump, but then Thanksgiving's coming, so we're all excited, and then there's slump, and then Christmas, oh, it's super exciting, and then there's this drop in January where you're like, it's a hangover, and spending it, recognizing that is going to be a hard time and putting things in place. Maybe it's going somewhere where it's sunny, going on a vacation in January, not in December or November. Making sure that you aren't overworked in January. Like, give yourself some time to recuperate from the holidays. It's just like when you go on a trip. I always say, take one extra day at the end of your trip, so when you come home, you have a day to kind of get your feet settled, get your laundry done, and then start your life. So
yes, I love that. Well, and I remember one time you said, like, at the Thanksgiving dinner table is not the place to bring up things. I love that advice because it's so true. Like, it is not the time and place to bring up what happened 5 years ago or what, like, it's not the time or place. And I think that's important because I think some people think, oh, we're all together, I'm just going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I think you're so right. Like, sometimes it's not.
Well, it ruins the experience. It really does, because then hard feelings come up. Yes, it's nice because everybody's there, right? It's very convenient, but it ruins that holiday for so many that maybe aren't involved, or that are involved but would really need a happy, moment in their holiday. So save those hard conversations for another time. Sometimes we have to just kind of put on a happy face. But here's the other thing. You do not have to be around people if you do not feel safe around them, emotionally or physically. It's okay to set that boundary. I know people don't like that, and people don't like it if you don't come to Thanksgiving dinner, but if you don't feel safe, it's okay to say, maybe not this year. I'd rather not go than have drama come up. Mm-hmm. It's okay.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I want to talk about this idea of belonging, because I think that it just came up to me today. I'm like, I want to talk to Lail about this idea of belonging, because I think I've done a lot of reading of Brene Brown, and I love her thoughts on belonging and how, like, it is actually like a mindset rather than a thing. Like, we just think that we don't belong, or we think that, we don't fit in our friends or our families or whatever. What are your thoughts on this idea of belonging?
But like you said, Brene Brown is amazing, right? She's just amazing. Here, I'll share with you how she describes it. She says there's a difference between fitting in and belonging. Fitting in, you change who you are to fit into the group. You morph yourself so that you feel like people accept you. Belonging is being who you are and being accepted and loving for just who you are. Fitting in, you may have a bigger group. That might be a bigger group that's in that group that you're fitting in with. But the problem is the more you fit in, the more you lose yourself. You lose who you are. You don't even know who you are anymore, right? But belonging, it's a much smaller group, but it is people who love and accept you for who you are and where you are. It's more healing, it's more sound, but it is more lonely. Sometimes it takes a while to find people that you belong with. Sometimes you're on your own for a while because people just don't get you, and that's okay. Don't change who you are to try to have friends, because are they really your friends if you're changing who you are? Mm-hmm. Because I'll tell you, if you keep looking, you will find them. You will mm-hmm. find your friends. It just takes, you have to kind of think about it. Like this happens a lot in my office. People are like, I just feel so alone, especially my mom. Like I feel so lonely and so alone. That's why I love your podcast and your all that you do in social media, because it really truly makes people feel loved and feel like they're part of something and not alone. But we talk about like joining clubs, reaching out, asking for people to go do stuff with. It doesn't mean you have to marry them. It's just, let's go to lunch and just see, maybe you'll click at lunch, maybe you won't. Have a play date with some other moms with their kids. But sometimes we have to do the work. I can't tell you how often moms are at home wishing the exact same thing, but they don't have the courage to ask for somebody to do something with them. Mm-hmm. And that feels really lonely. Or you feel kind of awkward and weird, like going to like if there's a play group, like, oh my gosh, nobody's going to like me, right? I always talk about my wheel, right? My emotion wheel. When you have those feelings of fear, it's because there's a lack of peace. And in that wedge on the emotion wheel of peace, there is thankful, there's nurtured, there's loved. If you were to text someone who does love you, who you do belong with, let's say you're going into a play date and you're like, I don't know anybody here. I just moved to this new area. I'm clueless. But I'm going to call my sister and say, hey, sis, I'm going to this thing and I'm feeling really uncomfortable. Hey, what do you think I should do? And she's like, oh, you're going to do great. You've got this. Instantly, I feel loved. So when I go into that play date, I don't feel like, man, nobody's going to like me, because I know my sister does. Mm-hmm. I love it. Using those skills, using those kinds of things to help buoy yourself up so you don't feel quite so scared, afraid.
Yeah. Ooh, I love that. I think too, it reminds me of, well, there's a couple of questions I want to ask you, but it reminds me of like when you choose to feel like you belong sometimes. Like you get to have that choice of like, do I belong here or not? And if you want to belong, you can choose to belong. You can say to yourself, actually, I do belong here. And I think it can be a shift in how you're thinking about it, because it's almost like, for me at least, maybe this is a stretch, but like whenever I don't feel like, as a parent, you're just doing so much and it's a really thankless job sometimes. And I kind of had to get to this point of like, I can thank myself. Like I can validate and thank myself enough to where I feel good about it. And I don't need other people's approval or their gratitude or their validation, or, you know what I mean? Like if my kids forget to say thank you or whatever, like it's a thankless job, but I can choose to thank myself. Same, that's how I go about, like when I am going to a social event or whatever, I can just choose that I belong there and that people want to see me there. I can just choose that I fit in with there. I think it's a choice we get to make whenever we want to. And if we don't want to, that's fine. But like, it's a choice we can choose too. And I loved everything you said about that.
It's what the story is you're telling yourself.
Yeah.
As you're walking in and you're telling yourself, oh, they're all going to think I'm weird. They're all going to think I'm ugly. They're all going to think I'm fat, whatever. Whether they think that or not, you think they think that because you've told yourself that. But if you go in and say, I'm going to be friendly and I'm going to be kind, and they're going to see that I am kind and that I'm a nice person, that's what you're going to believe they see. Mm-hmm. And so that is how you're going to behave. And then when you behave like that, people are attracted to that.
Yes. Right? It's so true. Yeah.
So
it's so true.
It's really, truly the story you're telling yourself really does come true. Mm-hmm. So
I think so too. I love that. Okay. I want to talk about, you brought up this wheel. I love that we talk about naming the dog, and Lail helped me with this a few weeks ago. And my follow-up question, so she has you basically like I usually have it handy right here. Do you have it with you? She has you look and see. I'm sure you have it with you.
On my computer.
Oh shoot!
I don't have a paper copy here.
Okay, I need to post about it too. But basically, you like find out what emotion. Well, you explain it, Lail. You're better at explaining than I am.
Well, what I have found is that when people have an emotion, there's on the emotion wheel. There's sad and angry and scared, and then on the other side is peaceful, powerful, and joyful. Here's the cool thing about it is, often when we say, I'm feeling all these feels and I don't know what to do about it, or I don't know why I'm feeling this way, we actually can figure that out. We can say, if we're in the anger wedge, insecure, angry, hurt, anything like that, frustrated, across the wheel is powerful. We don't feel powerful. We've lost, that's the void that we're feeling. We don't feel appreciated. We don't feel accepted. We don't feel like we're intelligent, that we're valued. So when you recognize what you're feeling, and then you recognize what the void is, you can actually say, oh, let's say my son comes to dinner and says, Mom, this dinner sucks. And I'm like, I'm getting angry. I go across the wheel. Oh, I don't feel appreciated. And then I ask myself, you know what? He eats everything that I make. He loves my food. Maybe I did screw something up. Maybe it's not that he doesn't appreciate it. He's trying to let me know.
Yeah.
It's really a powerful skill. And that's why I call it naming the dog. If your dog's running across the park and his name's George and you yell, Max, come back, he's not coming back. So if you say that you're angry, but really you're afraid, you won't be able to get it under control. That anger will stay out of control. So if you're feeling an emotion and you can't get it under control, and you're like, no, I'm really ticked off, I'm really angry, and I can't wrap my head around it and get it under control, it's because you're not feeling angry. You're actually probably feeling afraid or sad.
So how do you figure out what that is? Because when we did this the other day, I was like, actually, that's kind of hard to figure out, because you feel like you're sad or you feel that way, but it's actually anger, or it's actually fear. Like, how do you figure out?
This is why I really love that wheel. So maybe you can post it on here for people to look at. But sometimes you just need to read the words and ask yourself, am I really feeling this? Am I really feeling scared about what happened? Or, or am I angry that they did that? Right? But reading those words and really thinking about, what am I really feeling here? What is really going on here? As you investigate, and sometimes it is actually, maybe it's I just don't feel peace in my life. So if I don't feel peace in my life, what am I afraid of? So being inquisitive and be curious about your emotions and why you're feeling them and what they are. It's really it's an empowering tool when you can start doing it. I remember just the other night when you and I were talking, and you were like, wow. Huh. And all of a sudden, all the feels were like,
yeah,
back under control. So it's a cool feel.
That was crazy. Well, and an example, I was talking to a friend, and she was like, I don't know why, but I feel so alive when I'm doing crafts. Like, she started to do some crafts, and I was like, go look at the wheel. It's because you can like go backwards. Like, I'm like, it's because you've been feeling resentful. I'm like, you need some creativity in your life. And she's like, oh my gosh, I totally have.
Right?
Like, that's so rad that it can go backwards too. That's crazy.
Yeah, maybe she felt inadequate, but she's doing this craft and it's so cute, and she's like, this feels so good.
And she has control over her craft. Like, it's the coolest thing ever. That is so cool. You need to write your book. You need to write a book on that, Lail.
I was up actually a couple nights ago, all night long writing it. So
are you serious?
Yeah. So I've got a good start. So hopefully.
I love that. I think it's so healing. Lail helped me with it the other day because I was feeling really sad about something, but I didn't realize it was actually anger about something. And it's crazy because they can feel really similar. That's why I'm like, how do you know for sure? But going to the wheel and like almost like asking yourself, like you're saying, is it actually this? And we had to kind of ask myself a lot of questions during that conversation to help me see, yeah, I am mad. Actually, I'm not as sad as I thought as I am mad.
Yeah.
And so that was,
to give yourself permission to be mad.
Yeah.
Even over something that you think, oh, I should be sad about that. I shouldn't be mad. I should be sad.
Yeah.
But to give yourself permission that it's okay to feel feels. Emotions that's all they are, is emotions. But we get to decide what we do with those emotions. We get to allow them to control us, or we can take control. We have to decide that.
Yeah. I love that.
We have a lot more control than we think.
Well, and when we can shift our focus to what we can control, that changes everything too. So I love it. Okay, Lil, I feel like we could go on for 3 hours about so many different things, but I want to make sure we have time for talking about your sweet mom. Will you share her story? And I want to talk about it because I feel like it will bring such a beautiful spirit as we dive into the season and just such a beautiful reminder of what we need.
I got my tissue. I am fine. Everything's fine. No. So my mom's sorry.
That's okay. Tears are welcome here. I cry to you, you cry to me.
Exactly.
We cry together.
I miss her because she's been gone for 15 years now. But when she was a little girl, her mother died when she was 7. And she learned a lot in that year. Her dad remarried to a woman named Ursula, like truly an Ursula. She was.
You've never shared that before.
Yeah, she was like when her. This is horrible, but I was little. But when her dog got killed, I was like, didn't care. It's like, is that horrible? I'm horrible. I don't feel bad. Now I feel bad, but she was just so mean. We weren't allowed in her house. We had to sit on the porch.
Oh.
We weren't allowed to go inside our grandparents'
house. That is an Ursula. Are you serious? No.
That's weird. Yeah, I remember sitting on the cement steps outside the door, and Mom was inside, and we had to sit outside. Maybe it's because we were crazy. I don't know, but yeah, we weren't allowed in.
He's definitely not the grandma that's sending Amazon packages to.
So. Right? It's called changing. Watch and learn. Yeah. Right? When you know what better you can do. When you know better, you do better.
Yes.
No, but when her mother died, and her mother was really just a sweet, amazing person from all the stories I hear, because I never met her. But my mom learned at that time how important God was in her life. And she would, when she was having a hard day, she would run in her bedroom, pull the blankets over her head, and say, "It's okay, I'm God's girl." So from a very young age, she built that relationship with Heavenly Father. She trusted him. She knew that hard things happen, but that he will comfort her. Years later, she's been through, I'm putting a lot of these stories in my book, and trust me, there's some funny ones, but at the end, she was in her late 70s and walking across a parking lot, a grocery store parking lot, and they had been cleaning out a septic system. And so they took the manhole cover off, but they didn't put any guards around it. And she fell in, and nobody saw her fall. The guy came back to the manhole and he kicked it shut. And then he saw keys on the ground, and he's like, this is not, so what's going on? He looks in, he sees her down at the bottom, 20 feet down, 35 bones broken. Her leg, her femur is sticking out of her skin. She's holding it up as she's laying on her back. Cockroaches are running all over her. It was horrific. It was absolutely horrific. It's why I eat donuts, so I don't fall in a manhole, right? That was her first mistake. She was too skinny. No, but
it's so awful.
But when she was in the ICU, she would relive the experience over and over and over again. And she had all these tubes, but you could watch her lips. And she would say, "Help, help, I'm down here." And then she would turn her head to the side and say, "I put my life in your hands." Right? Pretty powerful. Pretty powerful how she understood that Heavenly Father would be there for her, even in a bad situation. Bad things happen to good people. It's when bad things happen to us, it's not because God is trying to, get us. It's just the bad things happen. But he is always there to comfort. We just have to reach out. We just have to be aware. We don't even have to ask. We just got to be aware that he's there, because he is there, right? And I think we are surrounded by our family. As they've crossed over, I think they come back and I think they watch over us. They're our little guardian angels. So building that relationship, I have a lot of people that struggle with their faith that come into my office. And I will say, you know, let's put all the church stuff over here in a bucket. We're going to put everything over here. And we're going to, this is our bucket of question, and this is your bucket of truth. And we're slowly going to take one thing out of the bucket, and we're going to ask ourselves, is this truth? Is this good? Is this a good fruit? Right? And if it is, I'm going to put it in my truth bucket. Now, if it isn't, I'm not just going to throw it away because I don't know. I'm going to put it back in that bucket. And to be quite honest, there's going to be a lot of things in that question bucket. I will die with questions in that bucket. I really will. There's a lot of weird things that I wonder that I don't have the capacity to have an answer to. But there are things that I absolutely do know, you know, kindness, love, honesty. But most importantly, and this is where I always start, is what is your relationship with Heavenly Father and with God? What does a father figure, maybe your father wasn't so great. Maybe he was really a horrible person. But what should a father figure be? What do you wish he was? Because God is perfect. So he is everything you wish him to be. So starting there and building that relationship. What are the characteristics of my Father in heaven?
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that because I have thought about this a lot because I have friends who really struggle with their physical father here. And I have always loved my physical father here. And so it's easy for me to feel that relationship with God because I imagine him like my own dad. And so that feels easy. And I'm like, well, what about people that have a harder time with their dad here? What does that look like for their relationship? And I love that you said that, like, he is what you want him to be. He is perfect. And whatever you want him to be is what he is because he's perfect. Ooh,
and even great dads aren't perfect, right? Yeah. There are a few things that you're like, yeah, Dad, wish you would have done this differently.
Yeah.
But we get to decide what is perfect to us, and to everyone, perfect is different. What is important to someone, to you, is different than what is important to me. And to be able to really define that, I think that's the key.
I love that. I love too that you said don't just let one thing change everything else that's true. I think so many people will hear something at conference or they hear one specific thing and it's just like, well, then none of it's true. And I think that's so sad. You're throwing away such a wonderful foundation, whether it be for your kids or for yourself. Like, you're throwing away so much just because this one tiny piece doesn't sit right with you. And I think there's something to say about that, of like, okay, let's take what you do feel is true, what you do feel is right and good, and live for that for right now. And if that means you're going to church because you know that primary is true, then go to church because primary is true. For me, it was going to church because I love Jesus Christ. Did I feel the Spirit at church? No. But do I love Jesus? Yes, I do. And I wanted to remember him in the sacrament. I think there's something to say about that. So I love that you brought that up because I think it's so true. We definitely need that. We need to focus on truth and not just waver just because we have one question that doesn't sit right with us.
Yeah, because we live in a human world, and the humans on this world, on this earth, including church members, are not always going to do things that we agree with, that are okay with us. But does that mean that God is bad? That Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ and all that they have created for us, does that mean that all of it's bad? No, it means that somebody made a human mistake, and hopefully they'll fix it and correct it.
I love that. What would you say to somebody that is in that phase and is just craving to find hope, or how does someone find faith within themselves?
I think it's really about grounding yourself. Stop letting, I often talk about emotions are like jumping the waves in the ocean, right? If you're jumping the waves and you're looking at the beach and the waves are coming from behind, they're going to knock you on your butt, right? We first have to turn and look at our waves and look at what is going on in our lives. What are the things that are knocking us down? What are the things that are threatening our faith? What are the things that that are emotionally too big for us. And when you're jumping the waves, right, you have to plant your feet. Otherwise you can't jump.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't plant your feet, it's going to take you, even if you're looking at it, it's going to come get you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So grounding your feet, finding who you are, and grounding yourself, and saying to yourself, I'm not going to live in this whirlwind. I'm going to live maybe I'm living in the eye of the storm right now, but I get to decide how big that eye of the storm is. And I'm going to push that storm out, and all that questioning and all the crazy and that doesn't have to touch me. I can find peace just within myself.
I love that.
That's where I start. What are you doing?
That's beautiful.
What are you doing to ground yourself? What are you doing to slow down? It's like running down a hill. When we're running down a hill as a kid, we biff it at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if you stopped every once in a while, you wouldn't fall. You'd get to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So slowing down your life, taking a moment. This is what I love when you do your walks, to take that moment to just appreciate God and to be one with nature and outside, and breathing deep and grounding yourself. I think that's where it has to start, because if your feet aren't planted, rogue waves are going to knock you on your butt.
Mm-hmm.
That's
so true.
Things will come out. People will do something. A church leader will say something, and it will just knock you down because you're not doing the things to keep yourself grounded.
It's so true. I love that. I think too, it feels like, who are you listening to? Where is your focus on? Are you talking to somebody who is grounded? Are you talking to somebody who's totally been wiped on their butt and they're just shouting to the rooftops that they've been wiped on their butt? What are we listening to?
When I was in college, I tried to be a lifeguard, but I couldn't do it because I couldn't swim the length of the pool underwater.
I couldn't hold my swim either.
But one of the things that they taught us was that if somebody is drowning, don't help them. Give them something to hold on to. But if you go to them and you try to save them, they will drown you.
Yeah.
If you're not ready for it, if you're not strong enough, they will drown you. If you, so giving people tools, like if I have somebody that I feel is struggling, I can't save them. Very likely, they could take me down with them, right? But I can give them things. I can give them, experiences that I have had. I can give them love. I can give them service and acts of kindness. I can show them what swimming is all about emotionally, right? I can show them, but they have to do the work, and they have to want to.
That's so true.
So it's important to be careful how we go about, especially helping others, so that we don't drown as well.
Yeah, I love that. And staying grounded where we're at. That's beautiful, Lail. Thank you. Okay, we actually had a question come in here that I thought was so good. I have a hard time feeling trust for others and even God. Any advice?
Ooh, Brene Brown, The Anatomy of Trust, is my favorite description of because when you say I don't trust someone, well, what the heck does that mean, right? You don't know. So she has the acronym BRAVING. So B is boundaries. Does this other person respect my boundaries? R is reliability. Are they consistent? Do they do what they say they're going to do? A is accountability. Are they accountable? If they screw up, do they say, I'm so sorry, and they make amends and they fix it? V is vault. Vault's an interesting one because it's can I share something with you that I know you're going to hold sacred? You're not going to just blab it to the world. She says there's a back door to the vault. If somebody shares something with you that's not theirs to share, you instantly know you can't trust them. That's why gossip is such a bad thing. Now, saying hey, I'm really worried about this friend of mine. I'm concerned. What can we do to help her? That's different than, oh, did you hear what happened to so-and-so, right? That's very different. But so V is vault. I is integrity. Are you following your values, your moral compass, or are you off? Or is that other person off the value system that they should be on, or they used to be on? N is non-judgmental. Can I lose my crap in front of this person and they'll accept me no matter what? I can ugly cry in front of my husband and he just holds me. He doesn't go, oh, she's a little dramatic, right? He holds me and just says, I love you and you're going to be okay. G is generous in our forgiveness. We are going to make mistakes. Even sometimes intentionally, but most of the time unintentionally, right? But to be able to forgive each other. So when we talk about trust, asking ourselves, does this person respect my boundaries? Are they reliable? Are they accountable? Can I share things with them that they hold sacred? Do they hold their moral compass? Do they judge me? Are they generous in forgiveness? That's really great with people. When you think about Heavenly Father, think about that. Does he respect your boundaries? Yeah, he allows you to make any decision you want. He does. You have the agency to do whatever you want, no matter what. Mm-hmm. Is he reliable? If we reach out to him, he will come. I know because I've practiced it. And maybe sometimes we have to practice that, reaching out to him to feel him. That's what I love about your book. Recognizing times when the Savior has come to you. Like is accountability. You know, is Heavenly Father accountable if he's not there? Like, he's always there. So that's not even an issue. Mm-hmm. Are we accountable? Are we accountable with him? When we do screw up, do we say, hey, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me for messing up. He is a good vault. Prayer is an absolute gift. And, in conference, they talk about, prayer should be like that. It's not like this. Mm-hmm. Prayer is a communication and a relationship and just a lovely talk. I was always told to talk to your Heavenly Father like you do your own father, as a friend. He doesn't judge us. He doesn't. And he always forgives. He always forgives us. I think the question is, do we forgive ourselves? That's a whole nother story, right? But breathing, recognizing
that.
Recognizing the trust. Where does the trust come from, and where, what is missing? And to be quite honest, it's usually us.
I was just gonna say, is it a mirror reflection? Because I feel like everything you were saying, I was like, do we do that for ourselves? Like, is that happening within us?
And do we trust ourselves? Do you trust? Do you honor your own boundaries? Mm-hmm. Right? Like, it's really a powerful concept. Brene Brown's so awesome.
She's so great.
Yeah,
I know.
She is.
I love that.
God
and
bless
I what did you say?
I said, God bless Brene.
Oh, seriously, she's so great, and I love learning all of that too. And I had forgotten. I had read that a while ago, and I forgot that acronym, and it's so true. But yeah, as you were talking, I was like, but do we do that for us? Like, are we trusting ourselves? And I just thought that was so beautiful that you even related it to God and how that's how we can trust him too.
And I think the two that we have the most trouble with is the not judging ourselves and forgiving ourselves, generous in our forgiveness of ourselves for stupid things we do.
Yeah, for sure. Ooh, I love this. Well, this has been so good. Something I love asking people on our podcast is, I came up with this word arise, and I've talked to you about arise within my conferences and just this word arise within for the podcast. What does it mean for you to arise within? I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this.
I'm trying not to be emotional. To me, it's like a phoenix rising. Sometimes we have to burn everything down and become something new and something different and rise from it. It's okay if we have to burn everything down. That's where the beauty begins. So that's what I think of when I think of arise. Starting anew.
Oh, you're going to make me cry. I love that. That was a perfect answer. You're the best. Also, I have my God's Girl necklace on, you guys. I'm going to link these for you guys because Lail came up with it. Oh, you have yours on too? Yes. Look how cute they are. I'm going to link them for you. this phrase was coined by Lail. This is why I had him say God's girl, is because of Lail teaching about her sweet mom. And just this, like, she has always instilled, oh, now I'm going to cry. She has always instilled such hope and light in people. And I met Lail before all of this. I met Lail when we were eating lunch together, and she's like, there's something special here, and you're going to do something great. And like we were talking earlier, like, what do we believe about ourselves? And Lail is somebody that has instilled thoughts and feelings and things that I repeat in my head to help me believe that about myself. And she's been such a beautiful saving grace for me. I'm gonna bawl. I love her. If you can't tell how much we love each other, here we are. I love her. And you guys are gonna learn so much by following her account, and I'll link everything that she does on here in the show notes too. But she's an angel, and if you are local to her, she does have a wait list, but this is why she's coming out with a book, so we can all be graced by her beautiful words. And
it's gonna be called God's Girl.
Yes, that's perfect. I love that. I love that.
Look for it.
She's amazing. So find her. I will link her so you guys can find her on Instagram. Where is there anything else you want to share, Lail, as we wrap it up?
No, I think it's just, if you're not happy, get help. We are not supposed to not be happy. It's okay. It's okay for us to be sad. It's not. There's no rule that says we're always happy. I don't know about you, but I have sad moments all the time, right? But we don't have to stay there. We can choose what we want to feel and what we want to experience. And sometimes we need somebody to help us, just like the other day when you called and you're like, I'm just feeling all these emotions and I can't get it under control and I don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. And to talk to someone that can kind of see it from a different perspective and go, hey, how about this? Let's talk about this. Mm-hmm. So getting help is powerful. It's hard though, because therapists, I'll be quite honest, many are really bad.
I think so too.
I'm sorry.
So I only come to you.
I'm sorry, other therapists, but I think often people become a therapist because they themselves have had struggles, and they think, oh, this has been so helpful for me, I should be a therapist. But not everyone should do that. Just like not everyone should teach, right? There are teachers out there, you're like, oh girl, you should not be teaching children. You don't like them. Right?
So true. So true.
So yeah, so if you don't feel comfortable, if you see a therapist and you don't feel comfortable, you don't feel safe with them, you feel judged at all, find somebody else. Go investigate. And if you're seeing someone, and let's say you're getting a lot of information, I tell my clients this all the time. When you're done getting all the things that I teach you, go to someone else. I'm not the only source of all knowledge. There's a lot of people out there that have a lot of great information. So, but reach out. It's important.
Yeah.
It's really important.
I love that advice. Thanks, Lail. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm so happy to have you here with us. And this will be posted. You guys can listen to it on our podcast. And I just love you, Lail. Thanks so much for being here.
Call anytime, because you know what? The more people that we reach and hopefully give them some hope, the better.
Yeah, I agree. You're amazing. And that's exactly what you're giving the world. It's beautiful.
Back at you. Hey. You are too.
Love you, Lail. Thank you. Thanks for joining, you guys. We'll see you later.